What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. You're listening to a special live episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I am your host, TJ Zwarich, at TJ_Zwarich5 on all the socials, and I'm ready to talk some Obi-Wan Kenobi. But before we do that, I'm of course joined by my friend and co-host Garrett Blaney. Garrett, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good. I feel like today has been like a lot longer than it is, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot. So I'm ready to take a break, put that aside, and talk about some stuff that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes, and it has been a show that has been growing on both of us as it comes. And we're ready to talk some Obi-Wan Kenobi. We have a very special guest today. We are big fans of our guest here at Agents of Fandom, and we are joined by Rachel Leishman, assistant editor at the Mary Sue and co-host of the Podro Pascal. Rachel, how's it going?
It's going well. I've been up since like 8, which is early for me because I don't wake up for anything because I had to watch Obi-Wan. So I've been like, how is it only 4?
Super. You woke up early because you're so excited to come on the Agents of Fandom podcast.
Yeah,
it was a special day. You had to prepare
fully for this.
Just piles and piles of notes. But yeah, that was the same boat for me today. I woke up at about 8 a.m., 8:30. I don't think I actually got to Obi-Wan until about 10, but I tried. I did my best. Before we get into things, we got another episode later today. We're going to be live at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time, talking Ms. Marvel with our friend Brittany Gormley. I screwed up the last name because I was afraid to say Crowley.
You just have to say Crowley now, bro.
Brittany Gorman. I messed up her name last time because her Twitter name is Master_Crowley, and I said Britt Crowley, and then I just combined her last name Gorman with Crowley and said Brittany Gormley. Brittany Gorman is going to be joining us from Streamer News today to talk Ms. Marvel. So tune back in for that one, and we'll talk some Marvel news as well. But it's time to talk Star Wars. But before that, I want to get to know our guest a little bit better. First off, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
So Pedro Pascal is me and my co-host Katrina, and we go through Pedro Pascal's filmography. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We're both kind of messes, so like the episodes end up sometimes just being tangents the entire time.
Those are the best podcasts.
We're actively trying to campaign to do every season, do one episode on not Tropic Thunder, my God, Triple Frontier. Just because
special Tropic Thunder pod.
Yeah, a special episode about Tropic Thunder. But yeah, it's just kind of the two of us talking about Pedro Pascal's work, and we have some fun guests every once in a while. But yeah,
what more needs to be said? Really, it sells itself.
That's pretty awesome too. We got Damon Streams in the chat saying sounds like Layla's life's work, and that's a perfect kind of segue because Layla, our friend at Falcons Nat on the socials, one of the members of the Agents of Fandom, she's the one who connected us. How did the two of you get to know each other?
I think just like through Marvel and like Pedro Pascal, she like would tweet at me, and so then she had questions, I think one time about like writing. I call her my internet child because she's just turned 18. I was like, you're like my child because she likes all the same stuff I do. Yeah, today's her
Happy birthday, Layla.
Happy birthday, Layla.
Enjoy the Harry Styles concert without us.
Yeah, she's not here right now because she is at Harry Styles enjoying her birthday. So we're gonna give her a pass because that is absolutely amazing. And Layla, we're very jealous, and enjoy your birthday shout out when you're listening later.
When you're not at Harry Styles.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I want one ear on the Agents of Fandom while you're at Harry Styles.
Harry Styles is technically here.
People who are not watching live on Twitch are definitely gonna want to catch this one on YouTube. If you are watching it on YouTube later, make sure you follow us, hit the like button, help us combat the algorithm. You can find the Agents of Fandom podcast everywhere on that you get your podcasts, and Agents of Fandom on all the socials. But this is going to be a good episode for videos too, because not only did you have the kick-ass Harry Styles cutout, you got a pretty awesome background there as well. Talk us through some of the amazing photos from like different Comic Cons you got going there.
Yeah, so a lot of them are from Comic Cons. I guess I can just turn my computer. So over there is me and David Harbour at the top, where I can't point, where I'm dressed like Yelena. There's me and Tom Holland. Nice. There's a picture signed by Hayden Christensen. And then it's Denai Guerra and me and my friend Princess. That's it's Star Trek, sorry guys, but it's Carl Urban and me and my friend are doing the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy kind of pose. That's me and my friend with Sebastian Stan, where we're posing like working girl. That's me and Sebastian Stan, where I'm drinking a bottle of wine. There's William Shatner. There's Carrie Fisher. Tom Hiddleston. Me and Hayden Christensen, where I have the high ground. Me and Billy Lord recreating that picture with Carrie. There's me and Hewan. And then what else do I have? I'm missing. Oh, on my other wall is me and Paul Rudd with my friend, where he's holding a sign that says Bobby Newport's never had a real job in his life. And then
that is hilarious. I'm rewatching Parks and Rec right now as we speak. I'm just starting season 3 in my rewatch.
Oh, see, my cat is named Benjamin Wyatt the cat. It's my favorite show, and so when Paul Rudd was going to be there, I didn't have time to really make a good sign, so it's literally a piece of paper with like marker on it. This is Bobby Newport's never had a real job, and
that's quite the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's these, and then there's fan art everywhere. It's a choice of a room.
It's iconic. I would go as far as to say that is awesome.
Woody's normally not here, but I was doing Lightyear interviews, so I put him right here. So now he's just been dangling.
Speaking of, I heard that you have a fan. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Chris Evans knows you.
Yeah, look, we followed each other on Twitter for like the last 2 years, I think. But like I was like, oh, I don't know like the extent of it or whatever. And then at the Lightyear thing, I asked a question, and it started with, first of all, hi Rachel, I love Rachel, and then I answered my question. And at the same time, Taika Waititi was like, she's great, because he also follows me. So it was like the two of them talking, and I hated it.
My soul would have just evaporated from my body in that moment, and I just would have ceased to exist no longer.
Yeah, simply. I'm just glad that there was audio, so I knew what was going on, because I truly was like, I don't know what anyone just said.
We have had a lot of amazing guests throughout the industry on our show, and I don't know if we have someone with quite the list of like super cool fan worker accomplishments that you have. Like it's wonderful. You're living the dream, and I'm proud to be doing this show with you.
Oh, thank you. It's mainly because I'm just an idiot on Twitter.
So there's hope for us. Yes.
What happens is I'm not afraid to be a moron on Twitter. Like I had to interview Raul Coley for his new movie for Tribeca, and I walked in and he went, "Oh, we've met before," and I was like, "No, I just tweeted at you and you responded on Twitter where I'm an idiot." And I was like, that's how so you know awesome. Who I am.
That is so awesome.
That's so unbelievable. And we're working our way through the interview game as well, and we got a really exciting one, Disney related, we're looking forward to announcing in the future. And we're going to have another Ms. Marvel one that we're going to announce later on the podcast this afternoon. So stay tuned for that. We're excited to be able to talk about that. And I found what I was looking for. This is what I wanted to show you. My Leslie the Riveter Funko.
She's right here.
Nice. There it is.
That is
there
awesome.
It is.
I have her.
Best friends.
I love her. I don't have a Ben Wyatt, which feels wrong.
Yet. You don't have one yet.
I don't have one yet.
There's time.
We'll figure it out. Shout out Rob in the chat. Hey, it's Rob. Love you, Agents of Fandom. We love you too, Rob. And so thanks for the shout out. And you see, I love interacting with the chat, and it always makes me lose my train of thought.
It distracts you. Let's talk.
But
Kenobi.
I don't regret it. I don't. One more thing before we talk Kenobi. One more Parks and Recreation conversation. Ooh, that rhymed. I liked it. That when I got the Leslie the Riveter Funko, I got. I can't even remember the other Leslie one I got, but it was something to do with like she was doing maintenance in a park with the other Funko. But I got these ones for all of my groomsmen here in Saskatoon with me. Sorry, I didn't get one for you, Garrett, because I got it before we did the big on-air live ask. So
yikes, that's awkward.
Might have to find a Funko to get you when you get here. But that was the like first gift, as I asked them to be my groomsmen, was awesome. Giving them some Leslie Knope Funkos, because right when the pandemic started and two of them lived with me, that was the show that we like first binged through, like when we were all locked down together, was Parks and Recreation.
That's
it's
awesome.
So
that's a good story.
I have a Duke Silver out in the living room, and then I have Andy when he like got the princess makeup from Diane's kids, and I think I have others. Unclear. I'm looking around my room. I have like bearded Cap over there next to Steve Trevor. Like I was like, I have ones. Oh, there's Batman. I have so specific to me ones.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Hopper's face down in my window right now. Like I am picking him back up.
Well, it's time to officially talk some Kenobi, and I'll move out of the way so you can see him on the screen here. My dog Obi-Wan is he's fast. He's waking up because I said his name. He's taking a little nap there on the circle chair behind us. And it's time to talk about the show, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've loved it so far. Garrett started a little unsure, and then has been coming on to it. Rachel, what have you thought of the show as a whole so far, and kind of walk us through your Star Wars fandom journey?
Oh, I instantly liked it from the jump. Like granted, the first time I saw it was at the premiere at Star Wars Celebration. So like a very different kind of experience going into it, because I was just like, oh my God, I'm at Star Wars Celebration at the premiere of a show I've been waiting for. So like, I don't think I had a chance to ever not like it. Like no matter, they could have walked in and just completely killed everyone, and I would have been like, great.
Fantastic. Encore.
No notes.
Do it again. Every episode, just murder everybody.
Not to interrupt you, are you also a New Girl fan? Because most people I know that like Parks and Rec also like New Girl. As soon as you said no notes, I was you were Schmidt in my head. No notes. On the book.
I've watched Give You Cookie, Got You Cookie often whenever. Like I think during the election when we were stressed out, me and my roommate put on Give You Cookie, Got You Cookie. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. I went with my brothers to the re-releases in the 90s because they're 10 and 20 years older than I am. And so Star Wars has always kind of been like something we all did together in a way.
That's awesome.
And I had seen them before the re-releases, and then I went to the re-releases, but the prequels were kind of like obviously mine because I was the first one came out in 99, so I was like 7 turning 8, and my older brother was 17, and then the other one was almost 30, so like the two of them were kind of like, this is dumb, and I was like, no, it's not, it rules. Which was also the rest of the prequels. Like I was like, no, these rule. My brothers were like, no, they don't. I'm like, yeah, they do. And then I saw Revenge of the Sith 58 times in one summer. Because I watched it, I think 11 times in theaters. And then, sorry to the gods out there, don't arrest me, I found like a bootleg and watched it every night before I went to bed until I could buy it on DVD.
I'm pretty sure it's legally in some kind of contract that you're allowed to bootleg if you see it over 7 times in theaters. Like I'm pretty sure that's a clause, so you're good. I'm
great. Well, so what we used to do is like that was the summer where I was old enough that my mom would be like, okay, well, I'll just drop you off. I lived in California, and she was like, I'll just drop you off in Valencia for the day. You guys can go to the mall and do whatever. Here's money. And me and my friend were like, great, we're gonna go watch Revenge of the Sith. And every time we got dropped off, we just watch Revenge of the Sith in the theater, and then like hide in the theater and go back and see Revenge of the Sith again. and just kept kind of, it was like in Stranger Things where they sneak into the theater where you can no longer do that. That's what we did to watch Revenge of the Sith as much as possible. So like coming into Obi-Wan, I was like, this is meant for the people like me who were like, no, you don't understand. Revenge of the Sith is the best movie. I don't care that it's not. It is the best.
It's always been my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's my favorite Star Wars movie as well.
Yeah, rules. And like, I have a favorite out of every trilogy, but I will, if push comes to shove and I have to put one on out of the like each trilogy, I'm just putting on Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
I love it. So two questions for you.
Conversation.
One, is that the most you've ever seen a movie in theaters, Revenge of the Sith?
Endgame is very close. And no,
Endgame's my first.
I, Tanya is also really close. I saw I, Tanya, I think 9 times. Rocket Man's up there too, because I saw Rocket Man a lot. And then Endgame. Those are like the top 4, I think.
Nice. I think I did Endgame 7, and that was the most I've ever seen a movie in theaters. I went with like 4 or 5 different friend groups. It was fantastic.
Yeah, well, I was like, when I was a kid, I would go a lot more because I had nothing else to do.
Right.
But like as an adult, I think Endgame, I, Tanya, and Rocket Man were the ones that I was like, I'm gonna go see this as many times as people want.
Fair.
I think Black Panther is mine. I remember specifically, I saw it so many times because the person I went with fell asleep during the movie 3 times. I think he's just like a sleepy guy. Not because he didn't like the movie, he just falls asleep during movies, and this particular one he fell asleep in like 3 times. So I saw it like 4 times with him and then 2 times with like other people.
I like sleepy guys. We call them drowsers.
Yes. Yeah.
Another New Girl reference. Shout out to MTF and Chatty saying we're making him feel old because he's seen 7 of the 9 original Star Wars movies in theaters.
That's secretly my brother. My brother's the same way. My brother was born in 81, so like he saw Return of the Jedi only.
Yeah,
and then everything else.
That's what I. That's what I think. MTF too. MTF, you're not old, man. You're young at heart, brother.
True. And a big shout out to Rob the Slump God in chat, because he didn't gift 1, he didn't gift 2, he gifted 5 subs to the Agents of Fandom chat. So thank you so much, Rob, for doing that. And let's keep it rolling. We appreciate you. So if you want us to talk about anything, you let us know, and we'll fire it up here. The second question I had for you, I don't remember what it was. So let's just start talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Every single episode so far this series, I've enjoyed more than the last. There was the 3rd one brought us in some crazy action. The 4th one had some action and brought us to another emotional level. And the 5th one, I just thought it was amazing. And I tweeted out earlier, Garrett, we talked a little bit about this. There was a few of the plot points that were resolved that felt a little bit predictable, but they were also so wildly satisfying that I didn't care. Rachel, what did you think about episode 5?
I like it a lot. I think I called it Obi-Wan Kenobi's trauma tour, because that's what this whole series is. Like, I know people were like, I want him sad in the desert. He's just not in the desert, but he is just
We don't need more desert.
No, you don't need any more desert, but he's just so sad.
I don't like sad.
And everything is about their trauma. Because like this one was more about Anakin's trauma, but it was still connected to Obi-Wan. And like, which is funny because it's, instead of being so sad about Padme, he's just sad about Obi-Wan. And I was like, this rules. But I really liked it. And like what you're talking about, predictable, like when Darth Vader's pulling down that ship, you're like, oh, they're for sure they're just gonna fly off. But like, because they're gonna be in some other thing. But it still was cool to watch him just like fail. And I kind of like even the twist with Reva, like everyone kind of figured, oh, she's going to be one of those kids that were the younglings, and that's exactly what happened. But it still worked because it's like, oh, what we thought was wrong, we thought she was like, oh, I'm going to go with him because he's more powerful, but the reality is she just wants revenge. And so whatever is predictable about this show, they kind of not undercut it, but they make it so there is still a twist in there that you're like, oh no, but this is really cool, like how they explained this part. and I like it. I think this show's really good, and I like it a lot.
I agree. And something I think that it's doing magnificently, and it was bold of them to bring back something so heavily on Darth Vader, because this is a character, the most iconic villain in pop culture history, who's very mystified. And it was almost somebody I viewed similarly to Wolverine in Marvel, where the more you dive back into his origin, it almost the less I liked him. The more I knew about him, the less interested I was in him. And I was worried about that with Darth Vader. And the more I see him in live action, whether it's Rogue One to this, the more it just adds to the legend of Darth Vader for me. It's been done so incredibly well. Garrett, what do you think of episode 5? Where does it stack up in the series for you?
I would say it's probably my second favorite. 3, I would say, being my first favorite at this point. I think there was some really, we talked about the predictability. It is what it is. It didn't ruin it for me. It's just something, it's neither here nor there. It's just something I feel. I'm still a fan of the show. That Darth Vader fight with Reva, that almost took my mind off of everything, because while him stopping the ship in midair and then bringing it to the ground and like ripping the hull off was obviously so crazy to watch. Him just easily pairing her with the Force and like not using a lightsaber was easily like just as scary to me. And that kind of like made me forget, like, if I had any problems, I didn't remember them after that point. So it was I enjoyed it.
What I'm really loving, and I'm so happy you said that, because I just love that we're seeing, as Anakin embraces the dark side and fully becomes his most powerful self of Darth Vader, as he can be in the dark side, we're really seeing why he was the chosen one, why this dude was the most powerful. He's just like, it's everyone else, no matter how strong they are and compared to everyone else, just doesn't compare. And the way he brought the shit back, the way he was like, I love how you said parrying the lightsabers, because I couldn't remember the word parrying, and that was just perfect. And yeah, I thought it was unbelievably cool. The Reva twist, we didn't get my number one theory of her working for Crimson Dawn, but we did get number 2 of her doing it to get back at Vader to kill him, because she was pissed off because he killed everyone. So we got the second one there, not the first one. We'll take it. And we have literally no idea what's coming in episode 6. Reva's going to be chilling. Somebody's got to find her. This is such an amazing character. There's no way we've seen the last of her now. Maybe it's Crimson Dawn picking her up. I don't know. Rachel, what do you think about that situation, and what do you think episode 6 might be leaving us here?
I don't know, because this one wraps. Okay, so I was slightly confused by the end of the episode, just because she gets the message and I was like, all right, well, does that mean that like the Empire got that message, or was it just her and she just happened to find that and is like, because I don't foresee her instantly going back after Vader after that. Like, I feel like she would go and try and find Obi-Wan, so maybe the end of the episode is like her going there and them thinking something's going to happen to Luke, but the reality is she wants to like work with them to take down the Empire. I don't know. Go get Enfys Nest and like bring her in. But I just the Luke stuff was really kind of like, oh well, what are you gonna do now with Luke's like, because we know Leia is not gonna meet him because Leia is gonna go back to Alderaan, but like what, I don't know what they're going to do with that, because them leaving it on Luke, I was like, interesting. So something's going to happen by the time they get back to Tatooine, or like Obi-Wan's not going to get there in time, or something's going down that we don't know about. And I have no idea where it's going. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I guess I'll just have to wait, because I have zero theories.
It feels like we're about to have like a whole new context on like Luke's time on Tatooine.
It really does. And I think this is so interesting too, because when we like look back to how we were talking about the first episode when we watched it, the first two episodes, Garrett, this was something you were a little worried about the specific Luke Leia story, going back to that, and Vader not knowing about it. Like, it's tough to tiptoe that story and tell a story with both of them and not break the continuity of how that would work, create some plot holes. They're kind of addressing that straight on here. Someone found out. They're giving it to us. Someone found out. And we know this person doesn't like Vader, but we have no idea who else she may be affiliated with here. Do you have any ideas where you think this could be going?
Honestly, TJ, I don't. And here's the thing. I had to watch 2 episodes before work this morning because you scheduled 2 podcasts today. And I had to watch them back to back, and then we talked a bit in between. So I watched Obi-Wan first, and then watched Miss Marvel. So my thoughts are a little bit convoluted on both. You know, I feel like I haven't had time to like stretch everything out and like discuss it fully. But that makes sense. You know, like I just feel. Did we need to tell the story? Like, my whole thought from the beginning and why I didn't initially start out liking it was I felt that there might have been a better story to tell revolving around Cal Kestis in the time period, or now that we've name dropped Quinlan Voss, like, you know, that would have been a cool story to see. So they're giving me these chunks of things like, wow, I would have loved to have seen that. And then I know that they're telling the story within a box, because we know the end, we know the beginning, we know the end. And I think within the box, they're doing a pretty good job. To like, it's way better than I expected. I always want to love Star Wars properties, and I think within that box they're doing a good job. But I am going to defer to my previous thoughts of, you know, I feel like there is a different story that they could have told and not dealt necessarily with these problems.
And so, Rachel, I'm interested, when you were at the Star Wars Experience premiere event, so much of this marketing was shifted towards Luke, and us thinking it was going to be revolving around that story. What was it? Did you know in advance how Leia focused it was going to be? And what was it like being there, kind of realizing that story was shifting and we were getting this instead?
Well, I mean, I cried. I know some of people are going to listen on a podcast, but here's my little Leia tattoo. Not little Leia, like it is a Leia, like adult Leia tattoo. But
Little Leia tattoo coming.
I love it. I was so happy because, listen, I'm so sorry to Luke Skywalker, but if I have to hear more about his drama, I swear to God, like, I get it. They're all dramatic. Every man in Star Wars is dramatic, and I'm tired of it. And I
In
was
Star
just
Wars?
so, yeah,
Just in
right?
Star Wars, or like
You could have cut it. Every man is dramatic.
Dramatic. But like, it was just one of those things.
What
where I was
happened to
like,
you on Twitter again today?
I dared to tell a man to just like something for once.
God.
But the thing is, like, I really love Leia, and it constantly felt like she was second best. And what I love about this show is that she's not, and it's showing that everyone around her trusts her. And like, Bail really trusts her, and we knew that Bail Organa trusted her because of Rogue One. But today, especially, like, having Obi-Wan be like, no, listen to what she says. I trust this child. Like, if I trust her, you should trust her. Just kind of like reinforced that Leia is, in my opinion, frankly, the more important one. Like, yes, Luke was the one that got to train and be a Jedi, but we know that Leia was also Force sensitive, and they just were trying to hide her from Vader. And like, to know that she is very capable and everyone recognizes that meant a lot in a way that I like didn't think, like, because I knew it, but hearing all these characters kind of be like, no, yes, Leia is the one who like is gonna stop this, and like she's gonna lead the rebellion, she's the one that's brilliant, just like meant a lot. Because it's like, yeah, Luke's strong, Luke is powerful, but Leia's both of her parents mixed into one, and it rules. And so I like sitting there was like, oh, it's gonna be really cool to see Luke. I thought like maybe we would get like a glimpse of little Leia, because I had heard the rumor about Brea, and so I was like, that would be nice to just see her. And so like realizing in that audience that it was all about Leia, like just cried because it was just like, oh my gosh, no, it's her story. And I like that Luke now is the one that's like, and he gets an episode. Because I thought it was going to be the reverse. So just like it's very cool for me to have her finally kind of have her time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And she's been such a wonderfully cool character. And I agree with you. That moment with Obi-Wan, I trust her, and then seeing her resourcefulness, being the one that could go up there and fix it. It was so cool. And I think it adds to her legacy in a very interesting way. And I too had absolutely no idea where this is going to bring us for the final episode. And it's exciting. There's so many offshoot theories we've had, whether it be Garrett, yours with Quinlan Vos and Grogu, or this is set at the same time as Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, and maybe we're gonna get some Cal Kestis. They keep hinting at Qui-Gon. They keep hinting at this.
If we don't get Qui-Gon, I'm gonna be upset.
We haven't gotten any of it yet, and it
gotta be in it.
He has to.
I agree. He's got
it. You can't say it that much and then just not have him in there, and then know that he's signed on for Tales of the Jedi in the future. So, like, come on.
Well, but then also, like, I was talking about this last night with my friends because I was like, in canon, the first Force ghost, or like the first who's like trying to like use the Force to communicate, is Qui-Gon. So like we can't know that and then not see Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force ghost. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Oh, Clone Wars. I love that.
Like he has to, because Yoda says that, I think in Phantom Menace, he's like, Qui-Gon's trying to use your master was trying to, whatever he says. Yoda tells him that, and then we don't see him ever communicate with Qui-Gon in the prequels. So it would just be like baffling if they have him keep being like Master Qui-Gon. And then actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want him to show up. I want Obi-Wan Kenobi to just constantly be calling Qui-Gon and just get left on red the entire time.
Series
like, I can't do this.
With just, Master Qui-Gon, please, where are you? And just not getting it.
Qui-Gon just says, scene.
Here.
Oh, like it's seen with a check mark.
You guys are absolutely breaking me.
FIN.
Breaking me right now.
Or just the heart emoji. Like it's like Master Qui-Gon, please, I need help. And he just sends a little heart. Like, there you go. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
I'm out. You guys lost
Good luck,
me.
old friend. So, Rachel, Garrett and I are both huge fans of the animated shows, and I'm not even sure if Garrett, I'm not sure what, Garrett, your favorite exact moment, top moment in Star Wars is. And so if you got it off the top of your head, feel free to share as well. But I'm kind of in the minority where in any Star Wars anywhere, my favorite scene, my favorite moment is from an animated show. I'm curious what yours is. Like, what is your top one Star Wars moment?
All right, I have to do a lot of explaining because it's gonna sound like a joke.
I love that. Let's go.
I love all Star Wars. I love Leia, clearly. I love just Star Wars in general, but my favorite moment is probably when Anakin is having the nightmare in Revenge of the Sith and Hayden Christensen wakes up completely shirtless. But let me explain. I watched.
We have Jamie Dirac back on the pod.
Jamie and I are way too similar. The reason
I think that's why I like you both so much.
We were sitting next to each other for part of Celebration, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bad idea with the two of us." But my reasoning is, when I was a teenager, my friends and I went and saw it, and it became like a joke within our friend group because I was like, "Well, do you ever think Padme wakes up and she's like, oh, cold claw," and like says about his hand because it's metal, like your hand was cold, like get away from me, like people do with cold feet. And so it then became a thing where we would just say cold claw randomly, and it would be applicable to Anakin's metal hand, and just went like off the rails. And so now every time I think of that, I just think of my friends. So I was like, that might be my favorite. Second is probably my allegiance is to the Republic to democracy scene. just because I'm one of those people who I still know every line. But yeah, I don't know. That scene in particular has not ever left my mind. Where I feel like other parts of Star Wars that I like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I do like that. Like I have to think about it, but I don't have to think about that scene. It's just always here.
I don't have to think about Hayden Christensen shirtless. It lives rent free in the head.
Yeah, it's just always in my head, nonstop.
There are worse things to have ingrained in your brain.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Garrett, do you got yours off the top of your head?
It's a tough one. I hate ranking things. I hate because I always find it so hard to pull the number one. But if I had to choose one off the top of my head, it would be from the same show as yours, but a different moment. So it would be from Rebels. I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't seen it, so I won't say the name, but someone dies in a massive fire explosion, and it is just so heartbreaking. It is one of the most touching sacrifices in all of Star Wars, and I cried like a big baby. And
I
TJ's
am no Jedi. That's
okay.
my favorite moment in all of Star Wars.
And we got with the reenactment too.
Oh yeah, of course. Sound effects. We got Ezra's lightsaber here. We got Ahsoka's lightsaber here, and the Darksaber. My three favorite sabers in Star Wars. Now
I made my own.
That's awesome.
I have my purple lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge, and some guy was like, "Oh, big Mace Windu fan," and I was like, "No, I love Mara Jade," and he was like, "What?"
Yikes!
I love Mara Jade.
I respect it.
I was like, I like Mace Windu fine. I was like, I'm just a Mara Jade fan.
And he had no idea what you were referring to.
Yeah, he was like, "What?"
Classic.
I did see at Star Wars Celebration when I went dressed as Mara Jade for Star Wars night, and I saw two other Mara Jades. And me and the one girl were like, yeah, with like our purple lightsabers in the air. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. We're like one of four people who give a shit. Sorry, I swore. Who give a crap?
That's okay. That's allowed. That's allowed on the pod.
True.
And so while we're talking, that is so cool. That is one of the things I love the most about Star Wars fandom is there's these random small niche parts within it where you can just connect with people that you've never met before on a deep emotional level because of these things that related to you and you love in such a way it feels the same for them. There's obviously, of course, a negative aspect of Star Wars fandom as well, and that's been something heavily in the news lately as people say, oh no, it's fine. And you kind of got a firsthand feeling today of what it happens when people who love to hate Star Wars when you get on their bad side. I think it's important we kind of talk about it a little bit and point out the negatives so that we can enhance the positives within it. And I just want to give a shout out to all of our people in the Twitch chat and all the people that interact on the socials, because it has just been absolutely wonderful talking about this show with everyone, and I've had an absolute blast doing it so far. I woke up this morning with just having a bad anxiety day. Didn't really know why. Had some kooky dreams, woke up just feeling not good, and talking about this show with the two of you and interacting with the chat, I feel like I'm back to 100% again. And it's I want to highlight that there absolutely are negatives, and we have to speak on the toxicity and either hit the old block button to drown it out so they don't get the publicity, or call it out when the times are appropriate. But I want to also build up the amazing Star Wars fans we have in our community. So I want to thank you all for that as well.
That was really nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Damon wants to know if your dream was about a shirtless Anakin.
I would have much preferred to be dreaming about a shirtless Anakin than the dream I had. Damon, I can tell you about it later.
If you woke up with anxiety from a shirtless Anakin dream, I'd be like, sounds like a great time. Yeah, I was like, sounds like a great time. I don't know.
It's a red flag about you, TJ.
The only way I would wake up with anxiety about that was just being upset that I was not shirtless Anakin, because
you were not in bed with shirtless Anakin.
I wake up
Andor,
but just I wake up and I look at myself
Andor on Disney.
I know.
Other than Other than the cold claw, everything else I would have been like, yeah, that was nice. What happened?
I also
Yeah, you'd
got
be
when
like,
you were
"What
explaining
happened?"
when you were explaining that, I got such a vivid picture of like his hand like creeping over to her like in his sleep, you know.
Well, because it's
I'm
like, when
never
you
gonna not
think
think of
about it,
cold claw.
they like, he's metal, like he's all metal now, and I'm like, that got to be cold. And like, granted, he's in a Bacta tank, so I'm like, do you rust?
I think they're taking. Are they like removed? Are
I
the
guess
limbs
they are.
removed?
I
don't
don't
know.
know what
That's
they
a deep
do.
talk. It's a deep cut for another time.
I don't know what they do, but like, in theory, like, I'm like, if you do you shower, like like when we see Anakin in that bed, I'm like, okay, well, you're sleeping with your robotic arm on. Does that mean you shower with it on? What is the rust situation in Star Wars? Like, how does it work out?
Maybe he can use the force to like
That'd
cleanse
be
the metal of.
that'd be good, but I'm just like, I have so many questions
There's a
about
lot of
logistics
intricacies.
in the logistics of Star Wars.
I'd love to get into some of those sometimes because I have some as well.
That's the thing with Star Wars, is when you have a continuity this big, there's always going to be weird things that don't add up. And the thing that brought me in the mind of the toxic fandom is I did have one weird thought, and it was a similar weird thought that I think you've had a conversation about today when I was watching the Obi-Wan episode. And that was, why are they choosing a flashback to this specific time with Anakin as a Padawan with that braid without de-aging his face?
I
That
loved it.
seemed
I didn't
that
care.
seemed kind of weird. That was a weird choice. And then as they kept going to that flashback more and more, my thought process changed to, I don't care. I'm so happy to see these two on screen as themselves and not changed and de-aged, them being them in this scene again. I still think it's weird they chose that time period, but I get it because they needed it to be a training moment. And in hindsight, after watching it more, I was like, I'm happy they didn't de-age this because I want to see them now. And it looks so cool seeing Anakin, Hayden Christensen at this time, just like do the mashes and get to be it. So even though the time and the age didn't really match up for it, it was so cool. And I'm very happy they did it that way.
It literally didn't bother me at all.
No, me either. And granted, I love Hayden Christensen, so I think, and I love Ewan McGregor, obviously, but Ewan doesn't look that different. Hayden was like 19, 20, so he does look different.
Right.
But I think it was fine. Like, I didn't care, and I liked it better than like robot Luke. Like, I was like, I thought, great. I don't care. I know it's Anakin as a Padawan, but I also know Hayden Christensen is 41. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I suspended my disbelief so that I could be like, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, out of all the things, you know, I could say that I personally, I'm not even all the things, because that sounded really egregious. Out of the things that I could say personally that I don't like about the show, like, that's not one of them, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, okay, we all watch Stranger Things and pretend that Joe Keery is like 19. He's my age. Like, he's a 30-year-old man playing a teenager. And we just kind of are like, oh, how old's Steve supposed to? Oh, whatever. We're going to go
he's
with
so
it.
cute
Like,
and baby faced though.
you just go with it. Just pretend.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. And it's a weird thing. And maybe this is the anxiety day and wanting to toot my own horn for such a silly thing. But that's what my thought process was like. I'm proud of myself that this didn't bother me, because I caught it and it bothered me in the moment. And then when I thought about it, I was like, why on earth would I care? And I was pretty proud of myself to just be able to, that's stupid. And then move on with my day. And it made me enjoy the episode a lot more. And I thought it was pretty fantastic.
If only everyone else could go through that character development. If only the toxic parts
within
of
2 seconds, just go through that character arc.
Or, you know, be upset about it and then just decide to not intrude on someone else's day with your, just move on, just go to work and then, you know, do stuff.
Yeah, or just tell your friend, and then your friend can go, yeah, dude, that's a weird take. Just it's fake. It's fine. And then it dies there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing that gets me. I was like, it's made up. All of it's made up. George Lucas made it up. Like it's not real. So I don't understand why everyone gets so angry. I'm like, it's made up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I get it. Like I love these characters. I love Star Wars. But what I don't like about Star Wars, I forget. The Rise of Skywalker. That's not a movie. I don't know what that is. I just forget that of whatever I don't like, I go, okay, bye. I remember Babu Frick and that little droid that says no thank you. I was like, and that's it. You can just pick and choose what you like. There are so much in the Star Wars. And it's baffling when people are like, it ruined Star Wars. I'm like, this ruined Star Wars for you that Hayden Christensen is 40?
Out of all the things.
I was like, of all the things, he's 40. Oh no.
And somehow Emperor Palpatine returned.
The dead speak. But yeah, just sure.
Yeah, and I think the ultimate point is like people can enjoy what they want to enjoy, unless it's a bad, understood to be a bad thing. Like then don't enjoy that bad thing, like a moral bad thing, not
Yeah, if it's morally corrupt, don't enjoy that.
Yeah, don't be racist. For example,
it's an easy bar.
You think
easy bar?
You think so?
The other part of that scene that I loved so much, and I'm happy that we're talking about the sequel trilogy, is the Jedi Order. It took, I thought the Return of the Jedi, second one.
The Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi. There we go. Thank you. I'm having a tough brain day. I'm combining words. The Last Jedi. I thought it was a great movie, and I like that. Even though I think what always annoys me about Luke is it took him way too long to figure out that the Jedi way is not the right way, and I appreciated that he finally understood it at the end. I really like in the scene that we saw in the flashback in this week's episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, where Obi-Wan says to him, the biggest thing that's holding you back is your need to prove yourself.
To win.
Because that's accurate. It's true. It's 100%. That is great guidance. But it also, just like as someone who is also a teacher, I just kind of look at the way the Jedi handled Anakin all throughout the prequel series. And I'm very much of the stance like, yes, Palpatine, evil mastermind, he did some great stuff, but the Jedi are pretty close to as much to blame for Anakin turning to the dark side. Their ways didn't work. They were outdated. They needed to be adapted, and they handled the most talented kid at what they do ever the same as everybody else. And you can't treat everybody the same. You got to meet them at their level. And I really enjoyed that we got to see that small teaching moment, because we don't really get to see in the prequel series, as much as we do the animated shows, the true bond that Anakin and Obi-Wan have with each other. So much of what we see in the prequel series is just Anakin being pissed off at him. And there are a lot of really great moments between the two of them, strong teaching moments where they save each other's lives, moments where they're crying, they're yelling, and they come out stronger from it. We see, you are my brother, Anakin. He's like a father to me. We always get those references, but we didn't actually get to see a lot of that in live action. We only got to see it in large doses in animated. And so I love that we got to see that in live action and that teaching moment between the two of them, because although the Jedi Order failed Anakin, and Obi-Wan did in certain ways too, that really, to me, showed the strong bond that they had with each other.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And that's something the Clone Wars does so well, right? Is fleshing out everything that happens in between the three prequel movies, or at least between Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. And there's a lot of really great episodes that really characterize Obi-Wan and Anakin separately and then together as well. And I do think that you see it did feel very animated Clone Wars series that those scenes did, and the mentorship factors. So I think that's important to call out.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that aspect. Rachel, give me your final thoughts on the show, maybe a prediction for episode 6 if you have one, and then of course also let our viewers know where they can find you.
My thoughts are I love it. Again, no notes. I think it feels like Star Wars in the way that like the Mandalorian, like everything feels like Star Wars because it is Star Wars. And I think the conversations that happen about like what feels like Star Wars just boggle my mind because it's all Star Wars. They're in space and they're dramatic. It's Star Wars.
There are stars, there are wars.
Coming from a Solo fan. But
we like it too. We like it too.
I think Solo is really good. But
Me too.
Because it's
Kira in episode 6.
What shows that Han Solo is not suave and he's a hermit and he hates people. And I think the general population has decided that Han Solo is a ladies' man and he's not. Anyways, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Love it very much. It's exactly what I wanted out of this show, even though like I didn't know I could have that. So it's just been very fun to every week wake up and be like, oh man, I'm excited to watch Obi-Wan. Like I want to know what's going on. And I guess I don't know what we're gonna get from this 6th episode, but I kind of like that I have no idea. Like I assume it's gonna be Reva's gonna be there, and Bale is gonna like I assume these things are going to happen, but I don't know, and I kind of enjoy that. I like not knowing because, like we said earlier, a lot of it has been pretty predictable because it's kind of fitting into a box and of like we know what came before and we know what comes after, but I just like that we don't know. Where I'm like, I don't know. We could have Luke and Leia like seeing each other from a distance, but not knowing that they saw each other because no one told them like, oh, that's Luke's. Like, I like that could happen. We could have Leia actually seeing Vader up close. Like, I like these things, and I'm just really excited. What was the other thing? Oh, I guess you can follow me on Twitter at Rachel Leishman. I'm on Instagram at Rachel_Leishman, and you can follow my work at the Mary Sue and then Padro Pascal.
Absolutely. Awesome. So make sure to follow all of those places. You can find me on socials at TJ_Zorch5, Garrett at Real Slim Blaney on Twitter, at The Real Slim Blaney on Instagram, Agents of Fandom on all the socials except Twitter. It's at Agents Fandom because we couldn't get that of in there. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to follow and hit the like button. And of course, this will be available as well everywhere you get your podcasts. We're going to be back in a couple hours, though. How many? We got like what, for 3 hours? 3 hours, and we're going to be back. And we're going to talk some Ms. Marvel. Garrett's got some work to do. I'm going to rest. And Ruben's going to do some editing. And we're going to be right back here talking Ms. Marvel with Brittany Gorman, not Crowley, not Gormley, not combined. We got the last name right, from Streamer News, our good friend. And I'm sure she's going to be ripping me for this, and I'm willing to just accept it.
You said and I was like, Garrett and I had nothing to do with that. That was fully
you. You were all involved. You're all involved. You're guilty by association.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
You're all guilty by association. Regardless, we're really excited for that, and we're of course going to be announcing our interview from the cast from Ms. Marvel as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. That'll do it for this episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. Rachel, you have been an absolutely amazing guest, and I really hope we can do it again.
I would love to.
Perfect. And that'll do it for today's episode. Peace.
Peace.